The first shot in this scene is a close-up of Mr. Huff sharpening a pencil which reads, "Your life is in our hands." This is not only the business's motto, but it also reflects how this job, and more specifically this boss, are in complete control of Bob's life.
Sit down, Bob.
The pencil is laid on the desk symmetrically along with other pencils, reflecting Mr. Huff's desire for control. These pencils could also be interpreted as prison bars for Bob. As soon as Bob enters the shot, he causes a pencil to fall out of line, which is quickly corrected by Mr. Huff. This is symbolic of their relationship, with Bob always falling out of line and Mr. Huff correcting him. Also worth noting in this scene are the colors and the framing. This scene is very monotone and dull, with all color drained from it, just like how this environment has drained any and all passion from Bob. The framing, meanwhile, is very symmetrical, reflecting the strict, orderly expectations that not only this workplace forces onto Bob, but society as a whole.
I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy. Ask me why.
Okay. Why?
Why what? Be specific, Bob.
Why are you unhappy?
While Bob is sitting, Mr. Huff has stood up, asserting his dominance.
Your customers make me unhappy.
What? You've gotten complaints?
Complaints I can handle. What I can't handle is your customers' inexplicable knowledge of InsureCare's inner workings. They're experts! Experts, Bob! Exploiting every loophole, dodging every obstacle! They're penetrating the bureaucracy!
Did I do something illegal?
No.
Notice how, throughout this exchange, Mr. Huff is making consistent eye contact, while Bob is looking straight ahead, avoiding it. This also serves to reflect Mr. Huff's dominance on the argument. However, there are moments when Bob makes eye contact, which is usually when he's talking back to Mr. Huff, asserting his own sort of dominance.
Are you saying we shouldn't help our customers?
The law requires that I answer no.
We're supposed to help people.
We're supposed to help our people! Starting with our stockholders, Bob! Who's helping them out, huh?
Now's a good time to point out the difference in movement. Mr. Huff is exaggerated while Bob is more steady. It's clear that this is because Bob is very uninterested in having this argument, but it could also serve to reflect how Bob is steadfast in his beliefs.
You know, Bob, a company
It's like an enormous clock.
is like an enormous Yes, precisely. It only works if all the little cogs mesh together. Now, a clock needs to be clean, well lubricated, and wound tight. The best clocks have jewel movements, cogs that fit, that cooperate by design. I'm being metaphorical, Bob. You know what I mean by cooperative cogs? Bob? Bob?
While Mr. Huff is discussing cogs working together, Bob becomes distracted by what's happening outside, reflecting how Bob's desire to be a hero doesn't mesh with society's expectations of how he should fit in. Also worth mentioning is the sound. Up until this point, this scene has had no music, reflecting the awkward nature of the scene. But now music has begun to swell up, just like how Bob's desire to be a hero is swelling up within his heart.
Look at me when I'm talking to you, Par!
That man out there, he needs
Do
help.
not change the subject, Bob. We're discussing your
He
attitude.
is getting mugged.
During this standoff in the argument, Bob is pictured on the right, while Mr. Huff is to the left. In terms of framing, anything towards the right is commonly seen as more favorable, while the left is more negative, which is worth keeping in mind throughout the rest of this scene.
Well, let's hope we don't cover him.
I'll be right back.
Stop right now, or you're fired!
Mr. Huff's face here says it all. He knows he's regained control of the situation. Before Bob can leave, we see him make his way into the foreground and to the right, while Mr. Huff stands in the background to the left. Anything closer to the foreground stands out as being stronger over things in the background. This philosophy is on full display in this shot. Also notice that the second Bob is stopped, a shadow is cast over his face. This darkness contrasts with the light that illuminated Bob as he was exiting, symbolizing the heroism within him fading away in that moment.
Close the door.
And of course, a closing door is an obvious metaphor.
Get over here now. I'm not happy, Bob. Not happy.
He got away.
Good thing, too. You were this close to losing your...
With Bob now standing, the difference in power becomes very apparent. He towers over Mr. Huff. And at the climax of this scene, Bob has become the center of attention. The holes in the wall circle around him, drawing the eye towards him.
Uh-oh.
The scene ends on a 2-second shot of Bob's harrowing expression. This is just enough time to let the emotion sink in.